You feel that you've truly done a spiritual cleanse. Or you've been feeling called that you need to do a cleanse. Somebody here, if you're not aware of what an egg cleanse is, I would highly suggest to go ahead and either, if you do know what it is, go ahead and plan to make the time to do one. It's not like something you have to do right away. It's drastic. But if you're somebody that's done it, has never even heard of an egg cleanse, okay, what it is basically a return to sender process. I'm not going to spend a deep amount of time here talking about it, but I was noted that the person watching this definitely could advance from a egg cleanse. I do have a video about it on YouTube. Okay, I have like a 45-minute long video on YouTube as a tutorial, if you will, on how to properly perform an egg cleanse, at least the Uncle Bronze way. All details are in that video. So if you're feeling called, go to my YouTube and you can type in egg cleanse, or you can scroll down to the spiritual workshops playlist and you will see a couple other cool things in there as well. But it's a return to sender energy spell. Anything that was sent your way that doesn't serve you, it simply returns to whoever sent it to begin with. It is not right for you to keep energy that you were never meant to store. Somebody needed to hear that. It looks like our reading today is very much evolved around how, yes, we are connected to each other, but seeing how even if we have connections, it doesn't mean every person is meant to stay. It's interesting. People come and go, and we can get in an all or nothing mentality when it comes to, I love somebody, or I care about them, I feel a connection, I'm instantly going to take all their pain, all of their trauma. Some people here could feel like they're spiritually cleansing from a partner that they rushed too fast into a relationship with. Interesting. Collect the text that resonates, but that's what feels like the download is. Okay. There were some expectations set. There's an energy of somebody who is making and doing things kind of like, you know how somebody will say, I'm doing this out of my freedom of will. I don't expect anything in return, but there's some things in you like, no, they do expect something in return. It's almost a sense of, I did this for you, so now I can hold it against you in the future. There is an energy of somebody here who, all you've ever wanted was somebody to do these memories and experiences with, to be able to be a homebody with, but also go out and make adventures, right? It feels that very interesting energy. Their collective takes or resonates. You know if you're the masculine, you know if you're the feminine. So use that discernment from there. But the overallness I'm feeling from this is that somebody had made a bunch of expectations that since I'm doing this, somebody's going to want to stay with me. Or because somebody's doing this for me, I have to feel like I should stay with them. Or that I owe something to them. What you've realized, a lot of times, sometimes, when people are doing things for us, and it's not a selfish thing, this is a selfless thing until it turns into a different level. And just stay on this roller coaster with me that we're riding through. Sometimes people so badly, especially let's just say if you've had a masculine or etc. who's really like done all these extravagant things for you right at the beginning of your dynamic, and then it kind of dies out fast. There's an energy here of you feel me going into this innerness because everything in the 3D world is trying to show you that there's a person that could have been doing things out of freedom of will, out of like kindness of heart, because they just wanted to make you see how special you are and etc. But something within it made you feel almost a form of like, now I owe something to them. Or this person could say, I spent all this money on you, And man, like there's so much energy going around me. It's not that everybody here had somebody like this, because another energy I'm feeling here is an individual who could have been doing all of these things because they've always wanted to. Okay, so what it feels is that there has been somebody that's gone into that nostalgic mindset and sees the relationship as everything they did, not everything they are to do together. There were expectations made fast because the dynamic went fast. Some of you here, your individual, they did all these things for you because it was a sense of, now I will be intertwined completely in their world. Not out of kindness of heart. Some individuals it's so I know this. Thank you for sitting here and like going through this with me, because it feels like there's somebody who is blinded by like their own malevolent will. It's not you. There's this energy of either somebody attached to the person that you were talking to, were together with, or that person within themselves that sees the world in this version of it's me against everyone else, or me against them. I can feel this going into a whole other love reading, because there's two topics I really have to focus on. It's that, but then also what the point of this one is right here. So I'm definitely going to film another one after this, specifically going off of this connection still as well. But to sum up for this topic, there's an individual that did a bunch of things very fast and thought they weren't expecting anything in return, but then when you started to choose what was best for you and take away a little bit of time or have to make other things priorities, etc., the person started feeling like an owens. Like, man, I did all this for them. Why aren't they... I thought I was doing this out of my kindness of heart, but was I really doing it for myself? This person wanted to do these things so badly, like go on dates and like do like just like adventures and etc. Things that it's just this energy of, it's almost frustrating, to be quite frank, like being in whoever's mind this is, because they wanted to do these things so badly for so long with like a partner, etc., and they just kind of like just threw them all out. Like rapid fire. And saw some of the places that they threw caused fire. This connection was not meant to last long, from what I'm hearing. This connection, if it would have continued to go farther, there would have been a puppet energy. Somebody being kind of like, I don't want to do this level of intensity, but there's a lot of different things here. It could be the intensity of somebody that very much like did all of these things to try to manipulate from the beginning, or this person would have been able to slowly implant their narrative more and more into your mind. And I'm not saying that you're this person that is easily gullible or can be swayed from your truth, but when we're surrounded by people, they influence us. And there is something in your energy that can't tippy-toe around, that the more you started to open up books, learn about this person, even though they were doing these beautiful things, there was an off energy attached to them. This connection made you see what parts of your life you were not focusing on, like what needed to be taken back by you, to be quite frank. This connection was also meant to show you what parts of your old timeline were you still being a puppet to. People you were... Something about this last dynamic, it taught you what were the things I was attracted to from people when it was the old me. The one that felt that it had to be all or nothing. The one that wanted to believe I could make this fairy tale movie star type of relationship. I'm not saying that love isn't real. We all can have our realistic fairy tales, what I like to call it. But there's just an overpowering energy of this person that Spirit needs you to know. They really moved. They moved this person out of the vision of the sign of light, because there is nothing more there was to unpack. There's nothing to wonder when it's regarding this connection, because the more it would have gone in, I do see the other person's energy collecting more and more moments of being like, hey, see, your family doesn't like me. Hey, see, your friends don't like me. Hey, see, this. Just it's something that I can't tiptoe away from, that you need to understand, that you really were reading things. Because people, we can have people that are great people, but don't have the best will for your loved ones. You can have somebody that has very pure intentions for you, but not for your loved ones. And that can sound contradictory, because it's like, well, if they don't have pure intentions for my people, then they don't have pure intentions for me. But that's not the way they're viewing it. Spirit wants you to know, meeting this person has grounded you back to the embodiment of what parts of your human existence you needed to go back and focusing on, versus always focusing on just... There's an energy of you where for a while your shifting of focus was all about spirituality, which is part of the experience. But life, like, you get to a point where it has to be balancing, okay? And like this 3D world knowledge that you received from this connection was being able to defer and work through confusion. It triggered a lot of anxiety, triggered a lot of things you thought you had already healed that you didn't. And that's why, just as intense as it was, it's just as fast as it was intense, it went and dwindled away as well. Spirit wants you to know it would have taken... It took you more strength to go ahead and see, I don't have to walk down this journey. I don't have to do this lifetime learning some lessons that me and this person had in past lifetimes. There was like a choice made. There was a choice made that I can feel and know we have a connection. We were destined to meet each other. And we were able to make the spiritual reason behind each other happen far faster than we had in other lifetimes. And we can go forth and be grateful for the experience of each other. You showed me how to take my own narrative back from what I felt that I was still assuming I should do things or live or exist or feel. I'm not saying that this person would have been some crazy manipulator who tried to destroy your world, okay? It's not some drastic thing like that, but there definitely was a sense of this person you brought out, like you were a reality check for them on actions and intentions. This is interesting. I'm receiving the download for like what they have felt about this experience versus how also it's just affecting you. this person helped you take control of your own narrative and your willpower and strength to do what's best for you. And something about your energy did a reality check in a sense for them, or a realization of the nonverbal communication we have with people, and how if you choose to walk a spiritual path, you must be ready to know the essence of vulnerability that truly means. You're still strong. You're strong through vulnerability. When you choose to be an essence of light and be a light worker and walk a spiritual path, you will be at the same time the most vulnerable and strongest and most protected you could possibly ever be. Vulnerable because you're being authentic, you're being your true self. Protected because that's the only way spirit can protect somebody, is to be completely vulnerable to them. Individuals who have a big mask on and try to act like they're picture perfect, spirit has actually a harder time of helping and protecting them than somebody who is raw, in control, but raw about themselves. You can go forward knowing this connection truly served its purpose. Know going forth that everybody involved it's interesting energy. Everyone involved did be able to see a part of themselves that was much more honest. I mean, there are so many people involved with this, and what I mean by that, the intricacy of friendships, family members, the romantic aspect, everybody that was intertwined was able to go through some form of a mirroring experience, like a reflection, seeing the other side, but also a moment of being honest about, like, yo, what part of me did this enact? What part of my parasite could still have control of me? What part, how much did I handle this situation in a way I never would have in the past? Like the yin and yang of everything. And everybody has their own mermaid and siren within them, is what I like to call it. And go with me here. It's also the same thing as, like, everybody has the black and white wolf within them, type of the yin yang. Mermaid is a beautiful source. It's this beautiful creature that does nothing but promote the essence of love, of healing, okay? That's the representation. And a siren is this beautiful creature that lures individuals to their death by the sound of their music, their voice, etc. When I say that we all have our siren and our mermaid, it's like it's another representation of your lights and your parasite, okay? Everybody in this situation was able to see where this whole experience touched their sensitivities, aka trusting their friends, not trusting their friends, looking back in love, comparing it to what you two had together. What parts of themselves were they looking for acceptance in you, and the vice versa? A lot of people were able to get in touch more with their creativity. Even though these are collective takes or resonates, but a lot of you here truly embodied a reflecting experience. You know, we have soul ties, and soul ties are far different than soulmates. This is my universal truth, that we have thousands of soulmates and we have very few soul ties. And of course, then we have, like, the divine and etc. But soul ties, it's so much more than romantic. Okay, there's certain people, like energies, you're destined to reincarnate with in every lifetime to meet each other. But staying in each other's life, that's freedom of will. It feels like for all of the ones involved with this, it was some forms of soul ties surrounding big pivotal reasons for meeting each other. And just because it's a soul tie does not mean it's shits and rainbows. Soul tie can be like, yo, this person, they came in my life and they fucking pulled something out of me that I didn't even know that it needed to be fixed. But at the end of the day, everybody grew and went through shadow work. And they want you to know and be honest with yourself that you never had control at the beginning ever about how others would choose, no matter how mature, honest, understanding, sensitive, strong, no matter how you chose to go about it, the other people, persons, etc., all of it, they would have their freedom of will. And you had to release the need to feel, I have to do things perfect and make everybody happy. Being honest with yourself, this made you come back home to loving your own body even more. And understanding, I have this for a reason. Spirit wants you to go forward knowing you made the change. There is a whole part of you that died out from this experience, and that's not a bad thing. It's a part of you that's not serving. It was like dead weight. You see, Spirit says this whole experience made you have a next level of being able to look into the mirror and not just seeing you, but literally seeing like your inner child, your inner teenager. Some of you here could have literally had a conversation in the mirror to your inner child, inner teenager. And if you haven't, I highly suggest you do that. It feels weird at first if you've never done it before, but you have to think of it as just like when you get on a new machine or you're doing a new exercise at the gym. It's weird at first. You don't know how to do it, but you're like, I know if I just keep up at it. Okay, repetition, muscle memory. It's the same thing when you do this type of self-love work. You completely stood up to the parasite for your own inner teenager during this experience. You are far more prepared to go see other places in all forms of existence now. You had to go through this trial. I just feel and see endurance running throughout you. And the loved ones that you see understand it is not you versus anybody. There is no competition. There is nobody that the time is running out for. You truly saw that this experience is not going to be somebody who's the one that got away at all. You see that the spirit experienced it exactly what it was, and it's just in this lifetime you had the strength both to cut it off, and not in a sense of quitting a journey or just releasing a connection based off fear. There was real decision making, strength, that I know why we met, and I don't need to go years and years down in this lifetime really harnessing that. This person that we're talking about, they were not your divine. Your divine is somebody far, far different than this. But this person was imperative. They were part of the reason why you were able to open the blinders, if you will, to certain things. This connection has served its purpose. So now, if you've experienced a lot of storms surrounding you, I mean, we pulled a number 33, 22, and 44, so you could also be seeing 2, 3, 4 in that synchronization quite a bit. It's an angel number for you. But it's showing that the storm, if you've been having a lot of storms or etc. around you, you notice like the weather actually reacts to your emotions. That is a real thing, okay? When you're going through inner turmoil, not every time is there going to be a big-ass thunderstorm and etc. But if it's been happening recently, you're not making that fit. There is this sense of the storm has came and washed away germs, aspects, etc. And now you have the ability to put your sundress on. There has been a whole new world opened from the decisions you have made. And Spirit knows something about this whole entire experience. You can never compare yourself the way your parasite always try to make you compare yourself to others again. I'm not saying you're perfect, that you're not going to have insecurities or moments, but it's like this situation, this brought a whole other level of balance to yourself about not comparing you to anybody. This situation made you hear and be able to see and feel and know the difference between when you're doing complete intuition versus you're having intuition guiding you, and that parasite's trying to come in and mimic certain things to make you stay in a low vibration. So think about like you're having a great time hanging out with a bunch of friends, right? And one person could react or do a facial expression to you that somebody in the past who belittled you or etc. did, and it would throw off your entire dynamic, your entire energy, thinking, oh man, I just said something stupid, or they don't like me, etc. And really the only reason the person made that face is because when they're the type of person, when they're trying to understand, they kind of like scrunch their face. But that face, it reminded you of something that you weren't healed from in the past. Something, that little example, this whole thing has been able to help you see, hey, just because there's a similarity does not mean it's a synchronization in my life. There's a big difference between similarities and synchronizations, and that's a whole other video for me to talk about. But for food for thought for now, synchronizations are things that align in your life for a bigger purpose. There is a 1, 2, 3. It is showing you a step. But then there's similarities, which are a lot of things that are very similar, but they're not synchronized to you. And something like I would like to explain is like, you ever had a thought and then like somebody around you says it, but you're not friends with them or connected to them, you're just like in the same store or whatever, you're like, well, I was just thinking that and they thought that. You're not having synchronizations with that person, okay? You're having similarities. Your energies are having passages, right? It's like think about when you're in a 3-lane road and you're in your own lane, but there's like 2 other cars beside you, but you're not in the same lanes. You're going the same way, you're in the same length, but your own lanes. That is like the easiest way I can make a mundane example of synchronization, is somebody who's in that same line. You're with each other. But similarity energies are where it's just like surrounding, it's downloads. It's like thinking about a satellite. A satellite doesn't just pick up one thing, it picks up a bunch of things, but then it, like, I don't know how satellites work, but you know what I'm trying to say. Satellites pick up everything, but then they can center focus on certain things, right? A lot of times people can get stuck thinking everything's a synchronization, with having to remember sometimes things are just similarities. But I'll definitely go into a whole other video one day regarding what that means. That's what I got for y'all today. Now we're going to talk about the BALI trip. The BALI trip is set for June 2025. So it is a 7-day retreat, and the trip website is linked on all of my social media platforms and on my website. My website is offprintmint.com. All you have to do now to claim your spot is put a 25% down deposit on the trip. And the trip, you can make split payments all the way into 2025. You do not have to have everything all up once. So if you want to go, you got a good amount of time to plan for it, get it all sorted out. And I suggest you go ahead and do this while I still have one of my early bird spots available. Early bird spot takes about right around $200 off the trip. And those, they get snatched up pretty fast. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email at contact@offprintmint.com, and I will gladly answer anything you have to ask. While you're on my website, go ahead and check out my available services. If you're interested in a personal reading, an apprenticeship session, soul uniting session, inner child healing, and so much more, go to the services page, go to the services tab on my profile. Under every single option, there's a click a button to book. You click that, it's going to take you to the same page where it's going to put a prompt where you put your name, your email, the topic at hand you're requesting, so a deep dive love reading, etc., and then a brief description of the requested reading topic. I will then from there send you an email back and we schedule together. I do not talk to anybody through any social media platforms. The only way you're going to get a reading and communication from me is my website. So if anybody reaches out to you, TikTok, Instagram, any social media, it is not me. The only way to receive a reading is you request it to me. And then we talk via my one email account, contact@offprintmint.com. That's what I got for y'all today. And I'll see you when I see you. Let's get it.